Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to our Disaster Challenge 2024. I'm just going to give a very brief introduction and welcome before I pass on to Kate Vinot, a board member with Natural Hazard Research Australia, to provide an official welcome to you all on behalf of the Centre. For those that I've not met before, my name is Andrew Gissing. I'm the CEO of Natural Hazards Research Australia. And Natural Hazards Research Australia, we are all about research, innovation and science which makes a difference. And ultimately we're about creating safer, more resilient and sustainable communities, just like so many other organisations represented here today. This is our third disaster challenge that we've run across the country. It's a national event. I believe this year we got close to 20 entries and we're down to the 3 finalists today. It's incredibly exciting, and as I said to the finalists yesterday, they're all winners because they've gotten to the finals, and so we'll see what the final result is today. But the innovation, the disaster challenge, it is about bigger, broader ideas that we need in our sector. We need to bring the innovation, that thought leadership, because we're in a space of worsening natural hazard risk here in WA and across the country and across the globe. And so without new ideas, new voices coming into natural hazards risk management, we run the risk of being behind the curve. So we launched an initiative this year called Be Ahead of Ready, and this is all part of it. It's about conversations about our future and about strategic capability, strategic policy in the future to make sure that we're getting ahead of the curve as our natural hazard risk worsens in the future. And so with that, I personally wish all our teams all the very best today. I know how much preparation has gone in today from our teams and also from the NHRA team to put this event on. Thank you all for coming and for the support, particularly of DFES in hosting us here down at the Bushfire Centre of Excellence as well. So at this point, I'll welcome Kate Vinot to give an official welcome.
Thank you, Andrew, and good morning everybody here, and good afternoon to everybody who's listening online over in the east. My name's Kate Vinot, as Andrew said, and I've been privileged to be on the board of Natural Hazards Research Australia for about 3 years now, and it's been a wonderful experience, and during that I've been able to meet some terrific people. I'm looking forward to re-meeting some of those that I already know in the room today, and meeting some of the others when we get a chance for a break as well. But before I go any further, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today, which are the Bantara people of the Noongar nation, and to pay my respects to their elders past and present and emerging, and extend that acknowledgement to any First Nations people with us here today or online. I'd also like to recognise that these lands and waters have always been a place of teaching, of learning and problem solving. And indeed that's inherent in the name of the building that we're meeting in today, which is Kala Kaichin, which brings together that fire and the learnings of the traditional people. And they've been on this land solving problems in this place for over 40,000 years. So I hope that's an inspiration to the people who are presenting on the challenges today. You've got a wonderful set of predecessors who've been on this land thinking about key problems that we're solving and brainstorming and working out ways to solve that. So it's wonderful to see you all here today. A little bit of housekeeping from me. We're taking photographs, so anybody who doesn't want photographs taken, please let Fredo know. If you want to be outside of the photographs today, because during the course of the day we'll be taking those. For those here, bathrooms are out to the right and the end of the building. There are emergency exits, so 2 in this room and 1 down at the end of the corridor through there. If we need to exit in emergency and muster, that's the concrete slab down there. So please all exit and do that if you are advised that we need to do that. Lunch is just outside this room and so is coffee, so please hang around for a while and have a chat. And if anybody needs to take a break in the middle of the sessions today, please feel free to get up, have a stretch, go to the back of the room, there's plenty of space, or just step out for a few minutes at any time. That's totally up to whatever makes you feel comfortable. But before we get underway further, there are a few people I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank the Federal Minister for Emergency Management, the Senator the Honourable Jenny McAllister. She's not able to be with us today, but she's actually provided a video, which I'll show shortly, to acknowledge the event that we're involved in and express her commitment for it, which is wonderful. We're also pleased to have two Deputy Commissioners here today from the Department of Fire and Emergency Services. So we have Deputy Commissioner Melissa Pexton, who it's nice to see you in person, having seen you many times online. Melissa oversees the Strategy Emergency Management Command. We also have Deputy Commissioner Craig Waters, AFSM, who is over there. Thank you. We haven't had a chance to say hello yet. So Craig's in charge of operational demand. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. And thank you both for being here today, and thank you again, I'll echo Andrew's words, thank you to DFS for your involvement here and hosting the Disaster Challenge today at this incredible place. While our judges are deliberating, Deputy Commissioner Pexton will give us a few words in terms of her experience, and thank you for taking the time to share those with us while the judges have their interesting task. So why is there a disaster challenge? Environmental management is full of wicked problems. So disaster challenge itself is all about innovation, risk-taking, problem-solving, and eventually transformational change. Not all the expertise that we need for that is actually, am I changing? I feel like I'm pressing the button on the computer, so tell me if I am. Not all the expertise that we need for that is actually currently in the emergency management sector. So one of the roles that we play is to try and bring together people from many different sectors and many different perspectives to help us solve some of those wicked problems. And that could come from anywhere in our diverse communities, any part of Australia, any age group, gender group, and social groups and others. And that's important because the risks are changing in Australia with climate change, population change and demographic change. The emergencies of the past are not the emergencies of the future. If you think back over the last 5 years, you can think about how much bigger, how much more unexpected, how much more variable those emergencies have been compared with our previous experience. I think the only common factor in all of them is we tended to use the word unprecedented. So I think an emergency of the future is now precedented. It's going to challenge us. So to tackle what we're going to face in these coming years, we need to do things differently, and science and research can really help in that. We need to tap into new thinking and different perspectives and combine it with a vast amount of experience and expertise that sits right here in the sector. And that's where the Disaster Challenge comes in. It's an opportunity to engage a diverse group of people with lived experiences of natural hazards, as well as others who are coming in and thinking, that's an interesting problem. I've got some ideas that I can contribute to solving it. And we need that next generation, the next set of future leaders who are going to be coming in and being part of our safe future in Australia. There's so much we can learn, and so I'm really looking forward to the Disaster Challenge for today. There's been many people who've been working on the Disaster Challenge up to today. I mean, as you spoke about the fact there's been 20 groups and so forth. That's a huge amount of work that's gone in. Is that me? I think it might be. There's been a huge amount of people, and I want to acknowledge some of those people who have been involved. I'd like to start with our Disaster Challenge steering group. We are where we are today because of their knowledge and advice. We're hosting it today, DFS is welcoming us, but the support of the university and the emergency management sector more broadly has been critical to where we are, and we couldn't have done it without them. So I'd like to thank all of our steering group members, and I'm going to name them. Some of them are here today and some of them are online. So I'd like to acknowledge and thank Deb Sparks from AFAC, Margaret Morton, who is here today, from the Australian Institute of Disaster Resilience, Helen Keane-Dyer from CQ University, Sean Hooper, Department of Climate Change, Energy, the Environment and Water, Beck Pianta, DFS, Western Australia, Kamara Pooley, Fire and Rescue New South Wales, Paula Bon, Flinders University, Deb Parkin, the Inspector General for Emergency Management in Victoria, Matthew Adams from Landgate is also with us today, Jonathan Abrahams from Monash University, Fleur O'Connor, Northern Territory Fire and Rescue Service, Rachel Nolan, New South Wales Bushfire Research Centre, Simon Heemstra, New South Wales Rural Fire Service, Jasmine Muir, SmartSat CRC, and Brenda McCatty and Ethel Samelkar from the Natural Hazards Research Australia, who coordinated the group. So thank you to all of you. And I'd also like to thank all the members of the three teams, the mentors of the three teams who've supported them in their pitches over the last few months. I'd like to now acknowledge and welcome our three judges who are sitting down here in front and have a vast amount of experience in disaster management and resilience. Dr. Margaret Morton, who I mentioned earlier, Mal Cronstead, who's the Non-Executive Director, Interchange Western Australia. He's former Deputy Commissioner of DFAS, Department of Fire and Emergency Services in WA, and he's a current member of the Natural Hazards Research Australia Research and Implementation Committee, where I have the pleasure of working with you on a frequent basis. Thank you, Mal. And also Linley Brown, Acting Assistant Commissioner, Resilience and Recovery from the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, WA. They spent time with our finalists yesterday to learn more about their pitches and provide them with some feedback. So I hope that was useful to everybody, and we're looking forward to hearing more very soon. They'll be assessing the pitches around the quality of the problem statement, going back to our thinking about making sure that we understand what problem we're trying to solve. It's really critical when thinking about challenges and disasters. What's the quality of the proposed solution? How have they thought about it? What's the impact of it? The credibility, the innovation, the affordability, the adaptability, scalability and achievability. They'll also be thinking about the quality of the pitch and the way that it's communicated to us in terms of its compelling value proposition. In closing, we'll now play the video message from Minister Jenny McAllister, and then Natural Hazards Research Australia's Science and Innovation Director, Professor Cheryl Desha, will handle proceedings for the rest of the morning. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, good morning, and thank you for your participation in the 2024 Disaster Challenge. Now, they say that necessity is the mother of invention. In the face of increasingly complex and frequent natural hazards and the impact on these hazards as disasters, there has never been a greater need to find new and innovative ways to build resilience. I had the pleasure of meeting with Natural Hazards Research Australia shortly after becoming Minister, and I am really thankful for the breadth and the depth of research and critical thinking that's being done across the emergency management and academic sectors to better understand how we plan, prepare, respond and recover from natural hazards and disasters. But today's Disaster Challenge has me very excited and a little bit intrigued as you grapple with the wicked problem of how to build trust as a foundation for disaster resilience. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all answer for a wicked problem, and there's never an easy solution. If there was, we'd already be doing it. So, best of luck to the teams. For the Home Insurance Risk Reduction Options team, Natalie, Alexandria and Lillian, good luck. For the Building Trust and Resilience, Improving Community Disaster Response through Effective Message Dissemination team, that's Craig, Alison and Madison, good luck. And for Project OutHeat, for Hannah, Curie and Annika, very best of luck. The three finalists, these three teams, have innovative and vastly different approaches, and you are all in for a treat today as you listen to their pitches. So again, good luck to these teams, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to the competition along the way. Bringing new ideas and new people from diverse backgrounds into the disaster resilience space is critical, and I really look forward to working with you all as we continue to find new and innovative ways to support communities and build trust and resilience.
Thank you, Jenny. Virtual and recorded or not, what an inspiring start, and the personal messages just resonates so much with me because today is all about people. And thank you to everyone who's joining in online. Thank you for those who've driven here today to be here in person. Let the people shine over this next hour and a half or so as we learn about what could be, what might be possible as we move forward with the imagination of our new and emergent leaders around us. So my name's Cheryl. I'm your MC today in my Technicolor Dreamcoat, bringing you the magic of NRA's Disaster Challenge. And a heads up, we also have a fabulous keynote speaker while the judges are deliberating. She will run to time, judges, so you need to run to time. So we have the fabulous Melissa Pexton, who's going to be providing us a keynote on the human impact of disasters, why resilience matters, and the role of building that resilience and research to support that into the future. So I can't wait for that after our very important presentations today from our competitors. So now on to the disaster challenge. So this is year number 3. Some of you have been here from the start. I can see some of you in the audience who've been here from the start. It's about calling out to our early career researchers, our postgraduate students, so anyone who's finished their bachelor's and doing something else, and our undergraduate students who are still in that, they might have just come from high school, be in their undergraduate experience. Everyone is inclusive in this challenge. And as Kate said earlier, the expertise doesn't just lie with the practitioners and the researchers within our sector. It's about bringing our new and emergent leaders through that career path journey. And language is key. I love language as an engineer. It sounds a bit strange. Anyway, I love language. A wicked problem we must know for today as a basis is one that's urgent, but difficult to solve because of incomplete, contradictory, or changing requirements that are often difficult to recognise or evaluate. So that's the headspace of today. It's in that messy space that's calling for new ideas. They could be new old ideas, but refashioned to actually be in context. New thinking, perhaps, and perhaps some new research to support that with evidence as needed. So our wicked problem calls for input from our, I'll say best and brightest, but actually every human being here is bestest and brightest, right? It's about bringing the individual passion and expertise to the problem. To put their creative talents, and we do have some creativity here today, so be prepared to hum and clap at some point, or just a heads up, to present their solutions. The Disaster Challenge is a research-informed challenge, hooray, and it's about what our finalists can do to bring that research in, present or future, to make that difference. So as Minister McAllister said, wicked problems are wicked for a reason. It's because by their nature they are notoriously difficult to solve and can't be solved necessarily in one step. So we're not expecting our finalists to give us a solution today. Well, not in 15 minutes anyway. But what we're looking for are concepts that can help Australia make a step in the right direction. And action is key, as we all know, doing something about it. So you don't actually need to be previously involved in disaster management either to be a part of this challenge. And our contestants are not necessarily of those backgrounds. So this is fantastic because we want people from outside. Enough of the echo chambers. Let's have different innovative, creative solutions to what we're looking at. You can see the Wicked Challenge on the screen. Online, I will read it out for your benefit as well. Or if we're getting slightly, long distance challenged with our site. So in a world where trust is both vital and fragile, vital and fragile, how can we build and sustain trust across our whole society to drive the collective and coordinated actions that are fundamental to reducing the risks and impacts of disasters? And in that, strengthen the safety, sustainability and resilience of all Australians. Easy. Can't imagine why there were 20 entries. I don't even know why we've got 3 in front of us today. Foregone conclusion. Not. Even with this coach, Technicolor magic, it's something that we really need to grapple with. So inside that notion of the problem statement, I think Jenny mentioned it, trust is the basis for disaster resilience. Nice summary. We're looking at the opportunities for shared responsibility, community-led action, backed by scientific evidence and lived experience. So we all know in the sector that relationships are absolutely critical to that. And there are many ways that we can maintain and perhaps maintain, sustain or reimagine what that trust looks like. We also know that trust can be eroded by decisions and actions of people, communities and organisations. And without lesson learning and bringing the frank lesson learning to our community, can be quite challenging to recreate that trust. So when trust is challenged, the foundations of disaster resilience are challenged. So that's one of the reasons why we picked this as the topic for this year, to have that difficult conversation. Okay, so we've got 3 teams. We also have 2 that the steering committee said deserved high commendations, and they're not here today. If you're online, feel free to grab out your phone and have a look at them. They're via the NHR website already. I just wanted to speak to them very briefly. The first one was called Random Acts of Resilience. Douglas Radford, he's at the University of Adelaide, and Gabriel Miller, who's at the University of Melbourne. Stay tuned to the fact that we've got multiple universities collaborating on these disaster challenge entries. Not necessarily easy when you're in your own little community of practice inside, so really, really great to see that. And Caitlin Simon, an early career researcher from the University of Melbourne as well. So those three putting together that Random Acts of Resilience bid, go and check it out online. The second one, I had nothing to do with it. Turned out that a couple of my colleagues at Griffith had submitted, and Evelyn Liu, an early career researcher, Irfan Payroon, Evelyn's a postgraduate student and Irfan is an early career researcher, put in a submission on building trust and bridging cultural gaps, innovating bushfire response and recovery through effective communication and Indigenous collaboration in rural areas, lessons from the Black Summer fires in 2019-2020. So please do go and check them out. They're not part of today's presentations, but sit inside that top 5 experience of what could be. Okay, enough talking from me, nearly. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our finalists, and then I'm handing over the stage. So we're going to hear today about 3 different ideas. The first one that we'll hear about is a concept that empowers homeowners to reduce risk, increase resilience, and build trust. And it's Natalie Oliver, Alexandra Gunn, and Lillian Norris. To help with nerves, can you guys give a big wave in the audience for our live? Okay, excellent, thank you. So Natalie's an early career researcher from the Queensland Fire Department. Alexandra is currently completing a master's at La Trobe University and also works in the Queensland Fire Department. And Lillian's a postgraduate student at the University of Queensland. Hooray for multi-organisational collaboration on this one, go team. Number 2, the local team from Western Australia. I know, you can give them a cheer, it's a local crowd. We've got lots of in-person cheer squad here. They've got a 2-pronged approach to foster community trust and action during heatwaves, with Hannah Waldron, Curie Thotter, and Anika Hill. Can you please put up your hands? And yeah, excellent, thanks team. So Hannah is an undergraduate student at the University of Western Australia. Curie is undertaking a PhD at the University of Western Australia. Oh, no, it says that here, that's why I keep saying that. I know, because we've spent time together over the last 2 days, and Curie's studying at the University of Western Australia and has a background in law. And Anika is an undergraduate student at Murdoch University. Thanks team, can't wait. Team 3. Team 3 is pitching the power of artificial intelligence, AI, to provide personalised messaging that builds trust and improves disaster response. So we've got Craig Riddip-Morris, Alison Sheaves, and Madison Green. Please, can you wave your hands wildly? Fantastic. So Craig, Alison, and Madison are all postgraduate students at James Cook University in Queensland. They are them selected by our national steering group, and Kate has highlighted the role and expertise earlier, so I'd like to once again thank you, steering group, for guiding the Disaster Challenge this year, and represented today with our judging panel as well. So that's what it's about, inspiring new and emergent and existing thought leaders from across our community to submit ideas, pitch, solve problems, well, concepts to problems, and perhaps even join our disaster resilience / research sector going forward. Even if you haven't come from there, you might see the opportunity for your career. So to our audience here in Mandurah or online, if you like what you see today, there is nothing stopping you from reaching out to these extraordinary human beings. You've got LinkedIn. If you want to call us at NHRA, we'll put you in contact. If you've got a bunch of venture capital money and you'd just like to throw a bit their way, I know there are people out there tuning in today who might just see that opportunity. If you're involved in other innovative challenges and bids that are looking for talent to bring into that, to grow it, this is part of that conversation, so please be in contact. There's more than bragging rights on the line today. They've got a chance to make a difference, and they've also got a chance to take home a little bit of cash. The winning team gets $5,000. The other 2 teams get $2,000. So everybody wins a prize already today, but let's see how it goes. So the next steps for us at NHRA, once we have today's presentations, we're going to be promoting the winning concept, obviously promoting all 5, showcasing them at various forums coming up, and definitely working with them to see how we can explore their concepts going forward. So, final shout out is to our last two winners from the previous years. I'd just like to recognise that Dr. Kamara Pooley and Mark Owens might be online today in 2022. They looked at the opportunity to use Wi-Fi captive portals. So that's when you go into a place and you've got a bounded Wi-Fi system that you log into to then get the campground Wi-Fi, for example, using them to share disaster preparedness information with tourists. And it was supported by NHRA, participating organisation, and has now been developed into a pilot project through our research program with dedicated research funding. So that's a huge opportunity to move forward for them. Lydia Wardale in 2023, last year, she created a program that was a youth-led engagement program. You might remember it, Youth Guardians, yeah? So that program is about providing youth with skills and knowledge about disaster education, and she's piloting her program next year. Now that's not NHRA directly, but it's just another example of being able to give that visibility to then go and have that life in next steps. Please stop talking, Cheryl. I'm going to stop talking. So the logistics, let's get into it. You guys get 15 minutes. You do know that, yes, we've practiced it. You're pitch perfect. You'll be telling us how your solution will help with the wicked problem, etc., making sure that you meet this brief here. And then our judges are going to confer for 20 minutes, and Melissa's going to give us a fantastic keynote. No pressure, Melissa. And then I'm going to hand over for the presentations. Everyone good for that? Okay, if you need a stretch break at any point, like Kate said, hop to the back of the room, stretch your back, whatever's needed. If you need to get up and just stretch, also feel free to do that. It's a safe, comfy, friendly space. We're so excited to see what you have to say. So I would like to now, drumroll collective please, introduce Team 1, the Home Insurance Risk Reduction Options team. Please help me welcome with a huge round of virtual and in-person applause, Lillian Norris, Alexandra Gunn, and Natalie Oliver.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lillian, and I'm here with Alexandra and Natalie, and we're Team Hero, Home Insurance Risk Reduction Options. Hero. While acknowledging that there's a wide reach of insurance products in the market, our idea is specifically aimed at home insurance in Australia. This makes up 22% of the insurance market. Today, we're here to tell you how our idea can increase disaster resilience and restore trust to the insurance sector, benefiting both homeowners and insurers. The insurance sector plays an integral role in disaster resilience and disaster risk reduction strategies. From UN level strategies like the Sendai framework through to local level strategies like homeowners and council level strategies, the insurance sector is present. In Australia, it's widely expected that we privately insure our assets. Can I see a raise of hands how many people in the room have home insurance? Almost everyone. Yeah, so we're talking to you. It's natural in this period of increased climatic and economic uncertainty that we should want to protect ourselves and feel secure in our homes. The insurance sector does this by encouraging those at risk to invest in loss reduction measures and by providing financial assistance after disaster events. However, there are problems in the way the insurance sector is currently operating. As I'm sure everyone in this room is aware, we are experiencing more frequent and more intense disaster events. As you can see on the left, this means the insurance sector is actually losing money on home insurance policies in recent years because, as you can see on the right, extreme weather events are costing more and more each year. In fact, insurers have lost $4 for every $100 paid by their customers over the past 3 years. This is a lose-lose situation, leading to a hard insurance market and more expensive premiums for customers. Research shows Australians are voting with their wallet and deliberately under-insuring their properties. 80% of homeowners in Australia are predicted to be under-insured, and 11% of households do not have any form of home or property insurance. This growing uninsurance and under-insurance trend signifies lower levels of trust in the industry. Formal complaints about the insurance sector have been rapidly increasing, with a 50% rise in the last period. The Hero team have spoken with a number of homeowners in both Lismore and Brisbane, and they've shared their experiences with the home insurance sector. The residents we spoke to felt disempowered by their experience after the 2022 floods, and as a result had lost trust in the sector. An East Lismore resident we spoke to expressed that she felt insurance was a scam after her experience. A key reason being she was not actually aware of what she was covered for in her policy. Similar experiences were in Brisbane, where a number of people did not realise they were not covered for flooding. A Woodburn resident commented on the unfair power dynamic that they had experienced between their insurer and themselves. Another Lismore resident we spoke to was confused why their premium had gone up and was frustrated with the lack of transparency provided by their insurer. Trust is hard-earned, easily lost, and difficult to re-establish. The insurance sector is well placed to foster safe, sustainable, and resilient development. The sector has an opportunity now to reimagine how it can provide approachable and actionable home insurance options, right from the point of sale.
How do we ensure greater risk transparency and help insurers solve this problem of trust? We bring you Hero.
Oh dear, these storms are becoming more frequent and seem much worse than I remember back in the day. I think it's time I investigated my home insurance. I can't even remember what I'm covered for anymore. Why is this costing so much? I just want to talk to someone about reducing my premium. Why won't anyone talk to me? Oh, I'm so sick of this call wait music. Sick of this call wait music.
I'm on my way. Hi there, I'm Superhero, here to show you how you can reduce your premium by implementing risk reduction options for your home.
Amazing! Exactly what I've been looking for. Please show me how.
Let's walk through the process. The process of applying for home insurance quotes will remain the same. All you need to do is answer questions about your property. The information provided in the quote form will feed into the Home Insurance Risk Reduction Options, HERO, to provide personalised information based on your home. The page will show what the priority hazards are for your property and clear information on what hazards your insurance will cover you for. A number of risk reduction options will be presented, which show you exactly how much you can save on your premium by implementing the option. There is also an AI chatbot which can help you answer questions such as, how much might this cost for my home? Or, are there any builders near me who could do this for me? Once you've selected any risk reduction options, you simply complete your quote and organise for the works to be completed.
Hello, I'd like to organise a quote for construction works to be done to my house.
Let's get to work installing shutters on these windows. All done with the work? Great choice with the window shutters. They'll help keep your house safe in severe storm season.
Thank you so much. You've done a great job.
Once the options have been implemented in your home, you are able to book a virtual inspection with the insurer, and you will then receive the savings which were confirmed when you first completed your quote online.
Hello, I'll show you the works via video call to verify that they have been completed.
Wonderful. I can see the window shutters have been installed. I will mark this as completed and apply the previously advised $150 annual savings to your insurance premiums.
Fantastic, thank you.
The great thing about this is that it's available for anyone across Australia and can be applied to any hazards applicable to your own home.
Thank you, Hero. That really helped me understand how the things I can do with my own home can help reduce my risk to hazards, whilst also saving me money on my insurance premium for years to come. So glad you were able to show me this wonderful tool.
Back to the Hero team in Perth.
Thanks, Superhero. Hero provides new innovations to the insurance customer experience, such as transparency, which no insurer has provided before. Homeowners can choose from a variety of risk reduction options based on their priority hazards for their home. Hero also provides transparency on what hazards their insurance covers them for in language which is easy to understand and doesn't require the homeowner to download the PDS and interpret jargon. The process is simple and locks in a confirmed saving on the premium before implementation of the risk reduction options. This provides greater transparency of savings without the homeowner needing to negotiate with the insurer directly. An AI chat box also provides a tool for users to ask questions, including who they can reach out to for quotes and how cost-effective it might be to implement any of the risk reduction options. Hero also offers a great opportunity for collaboration with the products that already exist in the industry. We don't want to repeat the work that has already been done in this space, and the intent of Hero is to work with these partners to integrate their products directly into the insurer's quote platforms. The credibility of Hero can also be proven through the success of these existing products, with the opportunity to value add through increased risk transparency and a user-friendly process. Research and information gained through these existing tools, including both industry and government programs, can benefit Hero as they are tried and tested methods of increasing resilience at the household level. There are a number of resilient design frameworks available to inform Hero's risk reduction options, and further research is currently taking place to evaluate programs such as the Queensland Homes Resilient Fund. Hero is impactful, and it's clear that action needs to happen now. You can see on these maps from the Climate Council that the number of properties at medium to high risk to hazards increases from 2030 to 2100. Our risk continues to increase as a result of climate change, population growth, an ageing population, and the vulnerability of our existing building stock. It is key that we address this today and work towards reducing our risk in the future. The Hero team also had the opportunity to engage with the insurance sector and homeowners to understand if Hero is something that they would like to see implemented with their insurer. One insurance sector employee acknowledged the process insurers have made so far towards improving transparency and stated that Hero is something that insurers need to get to. A Lismore resident also agreed that they would like to make changes to their home to be more resilient, however, they would need encouragement. This encouragement could be through the direct reductions in premiums offered by Hero. Implementing Hero is affordable and utilises existing peril data from insurers. Partnering with organisations and researchers such as the Cyclone Testing Station at James Cook University will assist in understanding how to price the risk reduction options which Hero offers. There are also opportunities to build trust with customers by offering nominal premium reductions for smaller risk reduction options. For example, raising the electricals on one floor of the house might not result in a real cost reduction when it comes to pricing perils. However, a small saving, such as $50, shows the customers that the insurer cares about reducing risk to their property, no matter how small.
Hero is adaptable, and with approximately 13.1 million home insurance policies, offers the opportunity to reach communities across the country. It is intended that Hero is implemented into insurers' existing quote platforms and is therefore accessible to all Australians seeking home insurance. By providing a number of risk reduction options to the homeowner, we are also able to be scalable to all kinds of disasters, empowering the homeowner to choose options to suit different budgets and priorities. It is intended that Hero provide an all hazards for all Australians solution. To ensure successful implementation of Hero, we have developed a plan that considers both the users and the insurers. The first phase focuses on research to understand existing products in the market and how users understand risk information. This ensures the final product is easily understood and offers opportunities to build partnerships with stakeholders to move forward into phase 2. The second phase aims to engage directly with the insurance sector to understand their existing barriers to implementation and collaboratively work together on solutions for final implementation with our industry partners in phase 3. During this final stage, it will be incredibly important to ensure there are strong connections with both the government and the research sectors to ensure a successful implementation. So, to summarise, what are the benefits of Hero and how does this lead to increased trust? For insurers, the benefits really align to building a strong relationship with their customers and therefore gaining their trust. With increased trust, an insurer will be able to maintain their existing customers while also attaining new customers, whether they are new to insurance altogether or they are coming across from another insurer. An increased customer base provides greater revenue, which can aid in the insurance sector returning to a soft market with increased increased competition and reduced premiums. Those insurers who do offer resilience measures such as Hero are likely to attract more customers and build a positive reputation within the market. And of course, with increased resilience comes lower recovery cost and reduced payouts for insurers. For homeowners, the benefits are great. Reducing insurance premiums aids in improving insurance affordability and the problem of underinsurance. Risk transparency ensures customers are aware of their coverage and can prioritise risk reduction options for their home. The clarity of this information builds trust with the insurer, and homeowners can feel more comfortable that they will have their claims accepted when needed. This has flow-on benefits such as improved mental well-being through recovery, reducing stress through the claims process. Increased resilience at the household level also increases the safety for the homeowner and results in reduced recovery costs. This can include direct costs such as damage to the home and also indirect costs such as temporary housing, for example. A more resilient home provides confidence to the homeowner that they will be able to recover quicker. We're very aware that there's lots of expertise in the room here today and many different personal stories with disasters and with your own home insurance as well. If you'd like to get in touch with us, I would love to chat after the presentation, or you can reach us through our website, which you can access on the QR code on the flyers that were on your seats today as well. So let's chat about making Hero a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian, Alexandra, and Natalie. Wow, can I be a hero? That sounds fantastic. Okay, stay tuned for our next crew. We've done one, with 2 more to go. So, team 2. We have Project OutHeat. Now, I need a big drum roll. It's a local crew, so be careful. All right, please welcome Project OutHeat, Anna Cahill, Curie Thoda, and Hannah Waldron to present their pitch to us today.
I'm Curie.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Annika. And we are Project OutHeat. We consist of a 2-pronged approach designed to foster trust through peer-to-peer outreach, community-to-peer outreach, and government-to-peer outreach in order to warn and protect people from the dangers of heat waves.
So, what really are heat waves? So, heat waves are an event where the maximum and the minimum temperatures are unusually high over 3 days. They account for 78% of all injury and hospitalisation and 43% of injury deaths, but traditionally viewed as less dangerous. We're Australians, we can handle the heat. Projected to become hotter, longer and more frequent in Australia due to climate change, it will be integral that we handle this problem at the moment, as the intensities and durations can harm Australians. Without improving strategies, heatwave-related mortality will rise. But who really is at risk? Well, everyone is at risk at heat waves. Everyone will experience these heat-related events, but there are a few people in the population who need a little bit of help, such as children, whose bodies absorb heat more rapidly, which causes them to overheat easily and become more dehydrated. The elderly have poor temperature regulation, which causes them to become more dehydrated and not feel the effects of dehydration until much later, which can cause more long-term effects. And the unhoused people. The unhomed population can not access any cool spaces, water and SPF, which makes them the most at risk of experiencing heat stroke, sunburn, and even dehydration. To lessen the heatwave impacts on vulnerable populations, we must boost trust through both government and peer-to-peer efforts.
Now, I know we have a lot of experts in the room. You might be thinking, well, we have plenty of heatwave information, right? And you are right, we do. We've got Bureau of Meteorology heatwave warnings and reports and government information from the Department of Health, and even non-government channels such as Sweltering Cities based in Sydney, which focuses on crisis heatwave support. But that's kind of the issue. Currently, our solution to the majority of natural disasters is crisis-focused, particularly for heatwaves. However, as climate change becomes a more serious issue and we break Australian heat records every summer, we need to change our approach. We need to empower our community to deal with heat waves and other natural disasters in a community-focused manner by focusing on pre-crisis support and building trust between peers and communities.
All right, so we've got a two-pronged solution today, which is basically focused on building that peer-to-peer trust and building your community and government trust. And the reason we're here today is because we care, and that's what our program aims to do. We've got two folds, Nag Your Neighbours and Hydrate, and Annika's going to introduce you to our part one.
So the first approach, our two-prong approach, is called Nag Your Neighbours. Nag Your Neighbours is a campaign that is a community-driven approach that uses peer-to-peer and community-to-peer outreach to build trust and resilience in the community. The campaign will use familiar faces, such as neighbours, to spread the awareness and information and dangers about heat waves in your local communities across Australia. This approach will encourage community members to appropriately prepare themselves and help their neighbours in need of assistance to prepare for extreme heat events. This increases the trust and safety in everyone in our community, especially individuals who are most vulnerable during those heat waves, such as your children, your elderly, your homeless, and people who get health issues exacerbated by the heat. The Nag Your Neighbours advertising campaign utilises a combination of an upbeat jingle and a fun animation to effectively approach the serious topic of heat waves. So the Nagging Neighbours initiative is for people who want to be more involved in their community. So after passing a quick heatwave quiz, undergoing a digital conflict resolution workshop, and using information supplied by the official Nag Your Neighbours website, they can go door to door and talk around their neighbourhood to inform and assist your neighbours and with heatwave support. Though the idea isn't limited to the nagging neighbours, anyone can nag their neighbours with care, of course. You can go nag your friends, families, co-workers, and anyone really. The Nagging Neighbour program has the adaptability to tie into local councils, meaning that we can support people in senior homes to allow them to have a safe space, such as in a community centre, or to go talk in a primary school about these big issues. And because community centres are already away from the heat, it's easier for them to talk. Such as my grandma, who loves to engage with her community, I would be worried if she was standing outside in those 40-degree days. So the target audience here, we have both close-knit and rural communities, and not so close-knit and urban communities. With close-knit rural communities, they don't really have a need, if they know the information, they won't have that need for any more programs, but having that advertisement still wouldn't do any harm. With those ones without information, the Nag Your Neighbours ad campaign will really drive through the information to them. Because they're close-knit, they've already built trust. But with some urban communities, you barely know any of your neighbours, and it's hard to build that trust with Joe down the road. So that means that the people with information can become the Nagging Neighbour volunteers, and the ones without can become the audience for the Nagging Neighbours, as well as using the Nag Your Neighbours ad campaign to spread the awareness initially. So what is this ad campaign? So initially with this ad campaign, we decided to bring it to life by using a beautiful hand-in-hand with Australian artists. So we got an Australian producer and an Australian digital artist to create beautiful sketches and animatics for this. We use a memorable and catchy tune because those aid in information recalls. Remembering those rhyming words really helps, and that fun little tune that gets stuck in your head like an earworm. And it's inspired by Slip Slop Slap, that famous Australian campaign that everyone remembers and that paved the way through my childhood of sun safety.
Sunscreen
the trust in our communities will save lives, and also with the Nagging Neighbours program, we're able to establish trust to people who may not already trust their neighbours, and with these programs in rural communities, they're able to get the information that they need at their fingertips.
Remember how we introduced 2 prongs? Well, this is the second one. I'm going to talk you through Hydrate. Now, inspired by a similar program in Berlin, the Hydrate program is basically a series of trucks traversing through Australia, providing immediate support to disadvantaged or rural communities, with tools such as water, SPF, shade, food, and showers for free. And this aims to build trust through healthy government-to-peer interactions. Now, in terms of advertising, we've collaborated with the same Australian artist as the Nagging Neighbours campaign to promote Hydrate, with the same characters in the jingle to promote bus and billboard adverts. Here's an example of what an advert might look like. A little shitty little mock-up, you know, for you all. Yeah. You know, you might be able to see this driving through the freeway, you know, going through Kwinana, you know, on the side of the road. Fun, right? Now, we plan to pilot the Hydrate program in Western Australia to provide proof of concept, as there are many rural communities in areas such as Broome, up there, that are highly disadvantaged and relatively isolated, making them ideal locations for piloting our Hydrate trucks. Moreover, Western Australians in particular have developed a culturally ingrained ambivalence towards extreme heat, viewing it as kind of a normal part of life instead of a serious natural event. This perception has led to inadequate preparation and responses to heat waves. The following other locations we have here are proposed based off several key considerations, which mean that Project OutHeat can be scaled nationwide while optimizing efficiency and reach. Now, how do these campaigns tie together? Well, they fall hand in hand. We've got a preventative measure and a combative measure, Hydrate being combative, focusing on heat waves and hot nights, and days as they occur. And the target audience varies a little bit as well. You got Nagging Neighbours serving everyone, but primarily local suburban communities, kind of close-knit, kind of know each other, maybe don't know each other. But Hydrate is serving like local and disadvantaged communities mainly, providing those resources to their door. And together they're used to build 2 different types of trust coming from 2 different mediums, which together compound to become far more impactful. Like, I can tell you personally, like, I have been through a lot of periods where I was like homeless and sleeping rough, and a program like this would have been really useful in those periods of time. Genuinely life-saving.
So we've also got some projected impact, which Kyrie is going to introduce quickly to you. But at a glance, it's about improving the community trust, improving your awareness, and improving your health outcomes, which are going to make your communities more resilient and able to adapt and respond to disasters as they become frequently worse.
So, behaviour change campaigns typically have about a 9% efficacy rate, and the Nagging Neighbours campaign aims to reduce heat-related hospitalisations by this percentage. So, from 2019 to 2022, there are about 2,000 heat stroke admissions worldwide, nationwide, oh my god, and this campaign could prevent 193 hospitalisations over the next 4 years. Hydrate will serve 150 people daily per truck, reaching about 18,000 individuals each summer, with trucks positioned in high-need areas based on heatwave maps, aiming for over a 30% reduction in heat relief-related hospitalisations. So, the whole aim of Project OutHeat is to prevent urgent medical needs in vulnerable populations, easing pressure on first responders through the Nagging Neighbours campaign and Hydrate trucks, enhancing preparedness, building trust, and empowering communities to act as first responders.
Amazing. And we've got some KPIs, which to sum it up quickly is you want to be having your annual surveys to check that your program's actually working, and you can track some of your key KPIs that we've listed down the bottom to make sure that your project's working, and if it's not, can you improve it, and what specifically do you need to do? And you do similar things with your Hydrate truck, so you can collect your demographic information and various other data, which means over time you can adapt your trucks to ensure that you're actually serving the areas with the most need. So over time you can adapt it to make sure that you're actually suiting your project. But we're going to go into a quick analysis of how we're going to implement this. So basically, it's taking pre-existing programs and we're taking out their success factors and putting them into our own project and recombining it, essentially to make sure that we're hitting these vulnerable groups and prioritising them, to ensure that we're encouraging a more community level response and developing that independence to respond to disasters, and also making it proactive, so we're acting before the disaster actually happens rather than having to respond in the time, which we believe will help in increasing trust overall. So just quickly, our timeline, I won't go over it in too much detail, but we think it's going to be able to be implemented in a relatively short time frame because we're linking up with existing service providers and community groups, and because of the immediate impact of the Nag Your Neighbour campaign as well. So we think it's going to be feasible to get it running for our pilots between 2024 and 2025. We're also linking with existing services. So we've seen that working with existing community networks and structures helps to create that goodwill and build the trust. So we think that by linking up with these existing service providers such as Your Health, you're getting all that information, you're building upon a pre-established trust-based relationships to basically target and prioritise your delivery. When you link with your local community leaders and organisations, you get their information that they have, which is a different type of trust-based relationship, and you leverage that to, again, build upon that trust and establish that credibility. And the third aspect of it is that it's community-driven. You're building up the community to be able to empower them and respond to these risks as they flow up. The next aspect of this is that we think it's going to be feasible in this amount of time due to the costs. If you look at what heatwave costs are predicted to be, over the next 4 years, they're going to put, in just WA, over 130 million. If you look at the comparative cost of this program, you're saving a lot of money by acting preemptively rather than fostering the costs at the hospital when it's at a critical level. As long as you take your stakeholders into consideration as well and adapt them to each sort of area, that means that you're going to be able to have a successful solution and adaptable and tailored to the actual specific locations, whether they be rural, metropolitan, and in different states, which ensures your success. We've got the other aspects of it here. Our solution is scalable because you can modularize it and it's expandable to other types of disasters. It's adaptable to a variety of scenarios. We have based it off heat waves, but taking those core underlying components of providing resources, reaching out and building a community, adapts it for other disasters. And it's flexible for location in both geographically and also in terms of having a short-term temporary service, because these trucks are mobile. That can also help to encourage long-term services within the communities, such as by encouraging states in WA and the local communities to actually build those mandated cooling spaces which haven't really been built yet. And it's achievable because it's cost-effective and because there is a clear need for it. We've got obviously you need to mitigate your risks. If you're interested, you can have a look in the handouts we've given you. And then the other aspect that I touched on briefly is that, you can expand these to other types of disasters such as bushfire, flood, relief and cyclones because of how we've built the program, essentially. All right, and that's a summary if you are interested again. All right, thank you everyone.
Thank you so much to Annika, Curie and Hannah. I think I might be teaching that little jingle to my kids anyway, regardless. It's fantastic. All right, the last pitch, the third of three. I would love a drum roll, please. For our team 3, building trust and resilience, improving community disaster response through personalised messaging. So can you help me welcome the personalised messaging team, Craig Ridepp-Morris, Alison Sheaves and Madison Green.
Good morning everyone. My name is Craig Ridepp-Morris and this is Madison Green and Alison Sheaves, and we are all PhD candidates from James Cook University in Townsville. And today we are pitching an idea focused on building trust and resilience by improving community disaster response through personalised messages. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Bindjarad people as the original inhabitants and traditional owners of the land in and around Mandurah. We would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands that we live and work, the Woolgarukaba and Bindal peoples. We extend this acknowledgement to all Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today and online, and we pay our respects to all elders past and present. So today, we are pitching a development of a generative AI chatbot that aims to provide personalised information to communities to help them be well prepared for an event, understand their own risks within their local area, and access vital information for recovery and response. This solution addresses the problem of people feeling uncertainty in the face of disasters, which intensifies the public's demand for accurate information. from reliable sources, sorry. It also addresses low engagement with the breadth of reliable information available. For those that are not aware, in Queensland, disaster management is disseminated via local councils who use disaster dashboards, which act as a one-stop shop for all relevant disaster information from key entities such as the Bureau of Meteorology, SES, and energy providers. However, we are aware that different regions in Australia, in different regions of Australia, disaster information is communicated by different authoritative bodies. Therefore, we are proposing to pilot this in a region like Townsville, and we foresee, given time, that this concept would be adaptable to different governance systems around Australia. Before we get into the specifics of the chatbot, we'll briefly like to provide some background and context for the barriers contributing to the problem, as well as how our idea has evolved. Research has identified that there are several factors which contribute to low engagement, all of which cannot be targeted in one innovation. And for the purposes of our innovation, we are looking at leveraging psychological theory, such as construal level theory, to help increase the community's understanding of their risk in the face of a disaster, allowing people to better prepare and recover. One of the main factors contributing to low engagement may be that there is a perceived lack of personally relevant information available. Construal level theory explains that when events are represented as being a more proximal or close threat, the salience or importance of the message increases. This increased salience of the information gives the community a more nuanced understanding of their personal risk and thereby increasing the likelihood of people engaging in protective actions. We acknowledge here that construing events as a more proximal threat may be ineffective for certain segments of the population, as heightened uncertainty and stress can similarly lead to a lack of engagement. The point here is that people should be given the option of accessing more personally relevant information, should this be what they need to understand their risks and prompt actions. Low engagement of information sources may also be a result of accessibility and usability of online platforms which disseminate key information. The ease of navigating these sites can be impacted by factors such as digital knowledge and even something as simple as the device a person is operating from.
Okay, so to address these barriers, our innovative idea is again the development of an AI-operated chatbot which would be embedded within disaster dashboards. This chatbot will improve community understanding, trust and disaster resilience by providing accessible disaster information that is personal and relevant to each community member. We are proposing to pilot the chatbot in a region like Townsville, which has a local disaster dashboard. This is designed as a collaborative approach which is supported by other tiers of government, emergency management sectors and other essential services who feed information to the community through disaster dashboards. It is essential that a co-designed, human-centred approach is undertaken. This allows the information that is accessible be based on the community's wants and needs during a disaster. There are several ways this co-design process can be facilitated. For instance, councils can conduct community feedback sessions, online surveys, and utilize already existing outreach efforts such as disaster ready days and school visits. With this AI chatbot, we are aiming to facilitate a more accessible way of navigating and searching for information. We foresee this to be the most useful during the preparation and recovery phases of disasters. How did we get to this idea? Well, our own lived experience of extreme weather events and research from our lab group helped us understand that how disaster information is communicated influences trust in key entities. Communication also influences how, why, and when people will engage in preparatory and community actions. Personally and within our community, we recognise the want for more personalised and suburb-specific information, exemplified by the recent cyclone Relive that impacted the Townsville region in January this year. Lack of personally relevant information can lead to frustration, as evidenced in the quote from Townsville local community member Jennifer Gaskin. Jen said, "I live in the outskirts of Townsville, and I felt like the updates were not relevant to me or my immediate neighbourhood." Throughout this challenge, our idea has evolved a lot, from initially proposing the creation of a communication protocol which aimed to optimise the advertisement and dissemination of existing information sources. Through engaging with key stakeholders, we learnt some of the limitations councils might have and refined our ideas accordingly. From these discussions, and particularly our discussion with the Townsville Local Disaster Management Group, we decided to focus on the development of an AI-driven chatbot. The Townsville Local Disaster Management Group were really receptive to this idea, as evidenced in the quote on the slide from the team manager, Zach Dawes. Zach said, "I really like the concept of the AI chatbot. This could help filter out some of the more common types of questions that the community would be asking or looking for in the information across our platforms." We also engaged with Dr. David Henderson, the Chief Engineer at the Cyclone Testing Station, which operates from our home university, JCU. Dave also endorsed the idea, and we further discussed the ways in which we can get more suburb-specific information fed into the chatbot. We discussed the benefits of the chatbot, with Dave stating, "I think the personalised responses from the chatbot is a great idea, with many beneficial uses for communities, like an educational or risk awareness tool for the preparation and recovery phases of disasters." So before we get into the nitty-gritty, we would like to provide a very brief explanation of generative AI. Gen AI technology can mimic human creativity and brain functions to create complex original content, such as long-form text, high-quality images, videos, audio, and more. It completes these tasks based on a foundation model that has been trained and tuned by data to adapt the AI for specific applications. Gen AI offers numerous benefits, but also has its risks, one of which being hallucinations and the potential spread of misinformation. Hallucinations are essentially when the AI produces incorrect or nonsensical information that may seem plausible but is not based on real data or facts. Some of the reasons these occur is because insufficient training, biased or unrepresentative information being used to train the AI.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. When building the AI model, the parameters of where information can be sourced should be fenced to only the reliable and trusted information on the dashboard. This will provide a more secure platform, which also reduces the risk of hallucinations and the potential spread of misinformation. Of course, there needs to be considerations placed on the measures around data security and end user protections. IBM and the Australian Signals Directorate provides guidelines around ensuring data security when building and training an AI model. As stated, this AI chatbot will be implemented within local council disaster dashboards to create a personalised, user-friendly interface which generates more forward-facing information to the communities about disasters and how to prepare and respond to them. When the chat is first opened, you'll be provided with some prompt questions or the space to ask your own question. This feature is the first step in the chatbot, which aims to build that personalised, tailored experience. This feature sets the basis for how information and prompts will be delivered to you. You will then begin to see information relevant to your area and be provided with further prompts that can lead you to useful information regarding preparation and recovery within your suburb. An example of a prompt question from the AI may be,
"Hello, I have access to a lot of information. Do you want to provide me with your postcode or your suburb, and I can provide more personalised information for you?"
To which I might respond, "My postcode is 4817, and is my area subject to flooding?" The conversation then continues.
"Thank you for those details. Yes, it looks like parts of your area may be subject to flooding. You can check your risk by looking at the flood map linked here. Let me know if you need help interpreting this information and if you need recommendations for appropriate preparation and evacuation planning."
To which I might respond, "It looks like my house would be flooded. Can you help me with an evacuation plan?"
Here are some links and other information about flooding and evacuation plans for your area. Is there anything else I can help you with?
So then I might ask, can you help me find where to get sandbags from?
It looks like your closest sandbag collection point is 123 Smith Street. Is there anything else I can help you with?
As the conversation continues, more personally relevant information is provided, which should increase trust and build personal resilience. This chatbot can be extended to utilise this data to help people create their own evacuation plan by pre-populating information into a downloadable document. Some key considerations and additional features that we would like to include are added security features. So when the AI does not have access to the information via the dashboard, or errors occur in its response, the end user will be prompted to contact a human representative by phone or email. This will help mitigate some of the fears and apprehensions some people have around the use of AI. Further, to help mitigate these feelings of apprehension, users would need to be provided with information about how their personal data will be used by the AI. Further, it is important that the tone and phrasing used by the chatbot is informed by the demographics of local communities. For example, considering whether more plain English or culturally specific language should be used. These could include options for language other than English, which we acknowledge may come in further scaled versions of this innovation. Also, to ensure broad accessibility of the chatbot, it is imperative that voice-to-text and read-aloud functionality be included from the outset. Another additional feature which could add to the experience is the option for saving chats into a text file or email format for later viewing. In terms of scalability, the first obvious avenue is extension to other jurisdictions. It can also be extended to other emergency management resources, for example, the SES. Piloting this chatbot in regions like Townsville will prove the value of this idea to then be implemented in the wider disaster management space. A more complex issue with scalability is targeting cohorts that are averse to the use of AI. Again, piloting this chatbot will provide insights into reaching those cohorts. Additionally, extending implementation of AI into other disaster information resources may increase the trust in the overall use of AI in the disaster management space. So let's circle all of this back to the wicked problem. How is this building trust and resilience? Our innovation will build trust in both the information that is provided and its sources in the face of disasters. We are recommending equipping community members with access to user-friendly interfaces which provide personalised information in order to be well prepared for an event, understand your own risk within your area, and access vital information for recovery and response. This trust in local councils and the disaster dashboard's ability to inform communities can be carried over to future disasters, thereby enhancing the uptake of information, safety, preparedness, and resilience within Australian communities. Through personalised communication, we can provide certainty during uncertain times, increase trust, and enhance community resilience. Thank you.
The presentations are done. And now we all get to relax, apart from two groups. The first group is the judging team, who now needs to go away, and they have one of those moments of 20 minutes, time-bounded, to reach some sort of conclusion. I have no idea how you're going to do it, but it's not my job, so I'm very relieved. Meanwhile, please do, judges, take every second that you can and commence conferral towards decision. And I'm so excited to welcome Melissa to the stage. So Melissa has 20 years of experience in the emergency management sector, nationally, state and local level, Melissa. And currently you're doing the Deputy Commissioner role for the Western Australia Department of Fire and Emergency Services. And for people who are watching online or in room and don't understand the sector so much, Deputy Commissioner means you've got a lot to think about every day across all hazards.
Yes, in Western Australia, yes.
Big deal. So, and I know I've learned through the team that you've also served as the Cyclone Seroja. So as these cyclones come through, we think, oh, phew, done, move on. But actually there's a really big role post-event to do recovery. And it's still happening. Since 2021, we're now 2024, your biosted's still serving, and I thought, good mental jog for me that these things take time, providing leadership to that whole of government recovery operation. And you actually held the role of the Deputy Chair of the State Disaster Management Committee, things like that. So with all of that experience, I can't wait to hear what you might reflect with us today. Thank you, online audience, and please welcome Melissa.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. And can I just thank the three teams that have just presented? I genuinely feel like my career has just flashed through all of those certain aspects. I'm going to come to that in just a moment. Can I please start for all of those online and in the room, and also pay my respects to the traditional owners on the lands on which we meet today, the Punjarup people of the Noongar Nation, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And what an absolute privilege it is for us here in WA to host this particular challenge this year with such a critical topic, certainly for the decisions that we do have to make, not only in my role, but right down to our local level, but particularly important on this group, as we've heard this morning, and on these lands, because this beautiful centre that we're so incredibly proud of here in WA is infused with the knowledge, the support and the co-design from those local people. So we do stand on their knowledge and wisdom, and invite you all to enjoy that as well. As indicated, I've been at this for quite some time, and Nag Your Neighbours is harking me back to my very first role. I started with the Fire and Emergency Services Agency, it was called then, and I was a schools educator, teaching and showing school excursions, community groups through another facility we have, which is our Old Perth Fire Station, and teaching people about how to get ready for emergencies. Stop, drop, cover and roll, get down low and go, go, go. So those earworms are already in my mind, and I've probably taken a slightly different path to the role of Deputy Commissioner, but inherent in all of that is some really core principles that I'm going to reflect on. So thank you for your Nag Your Neighbours singing. It will be another one I can add to the list. So thank you, team. I liked the clicking and the dancing, a few choreography moves there as well. The other one that I want to touch on, and we've already heard that I have performed the role as the State Recovery Controller for Tropical Cyclone Saroja, and if I had had Hero at the time, that would have prevented us standing in an RSL hall and having quite confronting, vulnerable people come to me and say, Mel, is there any way I can just sign something, because here's my wad of documents for insurance. I'm really struggling with my insurance company and no one's responding to my call. I do feel I'm underinsured. I'm not sure if I'm really across it. Can someone just fix this for me? So to have a line out the door for 2 days where we sat in rooms and heard people's stories, but didn't quite have the tools, the expertise. I will add converging and concurrent emergencies. It was during COVID. We were in a lockdown, and those experts of insurance agencies actually couldn't make it to WA because we were in lockdown and had a hard border closure. So Hero would have been absolutely fundamental to supporting some of those community members as we move forward. So I want to highlight that for that group, all of these wicked problems that we see in the intelligence and the thought and the wisdom you've brought to these have real life applications. So I genuinely hope people take you up on your offer. In terms of our chatbot, the great concept there and the loving principle that I'm going to touch on is around community-centred, human-centred. We've heard today from the speakers and our MCs how EM's a people game. At the end of the day, what I've learnt more and more and more and more is that our job is to meet people where they are. We have a privilege of understanding what that might mean through great advancements in research and data and information. The role that we hold is one that we should be privileged to hold, because certainly when I'm standing in that RSL hall and hearing people's stories, they are trusting me. They are trusting me with their life story and their situation, and they have put their trust in me to make a decision and provide advice that may help them get out of that situation and that disruption. So some of the things I want to touch on today about this notion of how we use trust and how we build trust, I guess, is my own personal reflections around some of the ways in which we need to approach this work. And that can sometimes be challenging for a traditional emergency services sector. And what's really encouraging about these sorts of events, and why I'm so thrilled to be involved with the Natural Hazards Research Centre, is that it takes a village. Yeah, and that we are not always going to have all the answers to all of these really wicked problems. Some of these are really fundamental, but they may not also be in the bailiwick of the traditional uniformed officer that you see standing in front of you, and which is why that we need to really be thinking about how we harness that collective wisdom. So in terms of that, I'm going to touch on sort of 3 key principles, if you like, and I've already indicated a couple of them. One is about meeting people where they are. And my team, who some of you are in the room, hear me say that over and over again, particularly in recovery and in the resilience preparedness building. The other one for me, and there's a beautiful quote that goes around in community development circles, which is around marrying, if you like, the wisdom of community with the knowledge of experts. And when I look across this room and I think about the group that is sitting before us, that takes that burden, if you like, from any one agency or any one department or any one. EM is a team game, and we need to ensure that we are really bringing together and harnessing that collective wisdom and the knowledge of experts, some of those things that have been presented today, to ensure that we can move forward. And the last concept I'm going to touch on is about honing our practice, because once we know these things, we need to practice it over and over again. And practicing it doesn't mean that it's just on repeat, that we just do the same thing and stand at that line, yeah? Part of honing our practice is thinking about adaptation. We've heard all of the data and research around our changing environment and climate. We're seeing that play out. If I think about the last 3 major emergencies here in WA I've been involved in, it certainly means that we take what we learn from each one but continue to grow. And where we can practice that, take the best of each of those and continue to hone our practice. Hone doesn't mean same. Hone means continually adapt and learn. That's really critical for our sector. And sometimes that might need different players and sometimes that might need the same players. So as we go through and I talk a little bit more, and I know someone's going to wave at me when I could talk about this stuff for days and days on end, I will touch back on those sort of 3 key principles. So let's start with meeting people where they're at and noting the theory, and the topic that we're talking about is around trust. So, noting I'm in a room with some researchers, we've got a few numbers here for you. The Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development conducts their annual international trust surveys. Alarmingly, the results of most of these surveys found that 44% of respondents have low or no trust in their national governments. Here in Australia, the results of the Public Service Commission's 2023 national survey sort of weren't much better. 50% surveyed said they trusted their federal government. 49% said that they trusted their state or territory governments. Interesting, the same public survey also asks what level of trust is in our emergency services, and that's ambulance, fire and other emergency services. Everyone's thinking what that number's going to be. 89% trust their emergency services. So if you think about those principles and our approach to how we engage with community before, during and after emergencies, that privilege all of a sudden has a lot of meaning, because we know that people, when they turn to us, are trusting our advice. They are trusting our direction. Many moons ago, when I worked in community safety, we used to do some campaigns like Nag Your Neighbour, and one of the images that we used for storm-safe preparedness was the image of an SES volunteer, the iconic orange overall. They were put on buses and bus shelters, predominantly in the city, because we knew that a lot of people travel in and out of the city. And when we did the recall on those actual ads, without even showing the taglines, the recall of seeing an SES person in orange overalls imbued these messages from those people. Trust, I feel safe, I need to get prepared because they are volunteers. Now that's just an orange overall. Now that's going back quite some time. I've been around for 20 years, remember? However, that 89% that we're entrusted with When those people put on that uniform and those people are engaging, there is a notion there of of what that actually means in our community. So how do we use that to the best of our ability? And this comes back to meeting people where they are. Those fabulous ideas that we've heard today are part and parcel of how that can work when we partner with those trusted individuals. The notion of the architecture of emergency management, particularly across our whole amazing country, but when I think about my experience here in WA, we're quite lucky because we have these amazing volunteer cohort that actually come from the community. So it's not just about people like deputy commissioners and incident controllers standing up and directing. We know we've got a high level of trust from those uniforms and individuals, but we also recognise that here in WA we have 26,000 volunteers who are members of their community, who are dropping their children off at school and having sideline conversations. They stand on the sides of football ovals every afternoon. And in regional Australia, they are often one in the same. The person in the uniform, the person running the P&C, the person who's volunteering at a tourism accommodation place, all of these people are doing amazing things in the community. To some extent, we don't need to tell people how to become resilient and what to do. In some ways, we sometimes need to harness that from the grassroots and up. Many years ago, in another hat that I was wearing, we did partner with ECU, Community Psychology Department, and we did some travel through from the top end all the way down in Western Australia this is, all through the Kimberley, right down to our Midwest, talking to communities who are impacted traditionally by cyclones. Now, from an emergency services organisation, we had a must-do list. Okay, this is what they need to know. They need to know that this could happen and this could happen and they should have this kit and this thing and and can you recite the 3 colour codes, which have now changed? And when we added all of those things together, I kid you not, there probably would have been a booklet of about 30 pages that we were expecting people to understand. Now, by partnering with researchers, the psychology unit and the community psychology researchers at the time said to me was, but what do they already know? Good question. So we did 2 things. We met with the emergency services responders who very importantly told me that we needed to get everyone to understand these 30 pages, and if they didn't, they're complacent. When I met with community groups, they said to me, I get it, but do you know what I love about living here, Mel? Is I love fishing. I love the fact that it's so warm and it's so hot that the lifestyle means that I start work earlier, I finish earlier, I pick up the kids from school and we go out on the boat and we go fishing. The fact that cyclones happened in this place, that just means I need to be aware of da and da and da. Did they recite 30 pages? No. Did they recite 10 pages? Yeah, in their own language. And so this meeting people where they are is sometimes about sitting and listening. And that comes to the heart of trust. How do you sit? How do you listen? How do you know? Not just from the top down, but from the bottom up. People in my team hear me say all the time, hand on heart moment, when I'm sitting in a RSL hall, or I'm standing in front of a minister, or I'm standing in front of my commissioner, what do I know? That builds trust. When you build those relationships and you have that level of communication and understanding, it builds trust. So message number 1, meet people where they are. We may have all the best research and advice. How do we make sure that we test that? How do we make sure that we engage that to a level that is practicable and that is understood by our community? DFES have been doing some really great work in that space with our Emergency WA app, and I noticed the conversations around in the pitch around the dashboard. Emergency WA, it's hard to believe, has only been in place for approximately 7 to 8 years, but we certainly are honing that knowledge and information by understanding whether that's scraping social media, whether that's getting those conversations and lessons that I talked about and honing that practice by adding additional data layers and sets, because the expectations of communities are no doubt growing. So we have just invested this year in an upgrade to that with an app that's coming. So the AI chatbot that I was looking at, we might have to have a little conversation, but certainly understanding where we can take that so that we can individualise those messages to further enhance people's understanding, but also give them even more accurate and timely information will be really, really important. The other thing we've realised in recovery, because in Western Australia DFES is responsible for all of those functions, is that rather than having other information separate from Emergency WA around recovery, is we host that on that very same website. So if we've already got everyone coming to look for that information in one location, Emergency WA, it didn't make sense to host that in a separate platform. While we've engaged that community and they're understanding and getting that very credible data from that one source, they just flick over to another tab for anything that's activated under recovery. And you're all welcome to go and have a look at our Emergency WA website, where you'll see all of our current activations and available assistance for every single community member that is there. So I talked about meeting people where they are. We're in a really privileged position that we can do that. The second one I talked about is the wisdom and the knowledge piece. And I talked about the fact that our volunteers are a really great source of doing that work in the first instance. In Cyclone Seroja, as you know, I have a saying that all emergencies are local. Doesn't matter if I come in as the State Recovery Controller, that community that's been impacted are there before. They're going to be there when we are, swarming their town and everyone's coming to visit. And when we all pack up and go home, they're the ones who are going to be left either different, new, or an emerging group of people through the experiences that they've been through. So it's really, really important that we engage with them from the beginning to the end. Now, anyone who's been around in emergency management practices for a long time, we know what our EM principles are. The reality of what we're facing at the moment is, for me, the principles are critical, because when we change our standard operating procedures or we update an ADAR handbook, the principles is what help us guide us through. And you can't go too far wrong if you're thinking about it from a human-centred approach, where you're engaging with that community and those people that have been impacted to then help guide what are the response and recovery aspects that we need to do. Some of this is not rocket science. It's ensuring that we stay true to thinking about trust. Yeah. I was very, very lucky when I was appointed as the State Recovery Controller, because I was appointed 3 days post-impact. 3 days. So what that meant was that I was able to sit with our response team. I was able to visit those communities as those critical decisions in response were being made. Kalbarri, which is a high traffic sort of tourist town, a little bit of a secret until probably the cyclone hit, very well loved by WA people, but not necessarily more broadly. If you think about the impacts they had had from both COVID, so they'd been shut down in the school holidays the year before because of lockdowns, then they were rebuilding and the cyclone hit, and then we closed their town because over 2,500 structures were damaged through the Midwest area, and the predominant main brunt of that cyclone was right in the Kalbarri community itself. Now, we had to close that town, one, out of respect for that community. Everyone's heard of EM tourism. Unfortunately, you get everyone that comes through. It was really respectful for us to do that. Those community meetings, that understanding of what both the tourism outlets needed, what was the school thinking about because it was school holidays and did we need to prioritise them? What did it mean for the local businesses in town that may not be able to function? All of those aspects need to come together very, very quickly from the wisdom and the knowledge side of the house. Some of those unintended consequences when we don't listen to that, I myself had to learn the hard way. As we started to think about, and the responders, because it was response, it wasn't my jurisdiction at the time, there was a need to open up that town. It had been closed for close to 3 to 4 weeks. I was feeling that was too soon. And interestingly enough, I needed to be challenged in that way. I was concerned because there was some pretty loud vocal community members that they did not want that opened as yet. As it turned out, when I did meet with other sectors, the P&C and our local police, there was unfortunately a spike in domestic violence that was going on from that town being closed for such a significant period of time, that had I have not been consulting and taking that wisdom from that community, I may have forced that road to stay closed, and I may have had unintended consequences from making that call. So the criticality of harnessing those knowledge and those experts is always critical, not an easy lesson to learn, but very grateful that appointed early, understanding what is actually going on in that community, and then being able to influence those outcomes in a way that has benefits for everybody. I think the other side of that is the growing relationships, and I talked a little bit, we've got a really lovely catchphrase in all of our Commonwealth doctrine and arrangements around shared responsibility. Having spent time in the local government sector for 5 years, I'm also a huge believer that in order to share responsibility, you have to be willing to hand the baton over. It's one thing to use it to beat people around the head with, oh no, this is a shared responsibility. If you're not willing to share, others can't participate. Anyone who has children or babysat and done any of those things, and you see people fighting over that really special toy, you've got to learn to share. And so what does that mean? I think with the incredible changes that are happening in our sector and the complexity that we're seeing, there is more than enough work to go around, and it is going to be coming back to that second principle, harnessing the right people to tackle these very challenging problems. It isn't just about the person in the uniform having all the answers. It is definitely a whole effort, whole of community, whole of government, whole of sectors, and bringing the relevant players to the table for all of those aspects for us to continue to adapt and learn. The last thing I'm going to touch on, because I can see our panel is coming in, so I've timed that beautifully, is just that honing the practice. When I was talking and playing this out a little bit with my family last night before I came here, my basketball mad 19-year-old said, "Mum, bet on the reps." And what he means by that is the more you practice, the more when you stand at that three-point line, you're gonna sink that basket. I talked earlier about, though, that doesn't just mean repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, this does mean take that knowledge. What have we learned? What was that wisdom in that community? Making sure we bank that and then reapply it. All of the amazing research, effort that goes into policy frameworks and decisions and arrangements and ADAR handbooks and all of those things mean nothing if we do not use them. We must learn to hone the practice so that we can all bet on the reps. I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and talk to you. Can I just congratulate again the 3 teams? Know that what you're doing has real world impact. I personally will come around and chat to you all after we've heard the fabulous news. I congratulate NHRA for this amazing opportunity and fabulous challenge. Thank you so much, and I'll hand back to you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mel. So, you know, NHRA, our way of being is that we're always lesson learning ourselves. And what I heard from that conversation in moving things forward, one, meeting people where they are. Thank you, I didn't have that language before, so I will take that on. The second one around marrying the wisdom of community with the knowledge of experts. I think that's a really lovely way of synthesising what we wrestle with in a positive way every day around how to connect our end users with great research. And honing practice, thinking about adaptation and learning. So I'm my background's environmental engineering and compliance. Plan, do, study, act. So, but that continual improvement around doing the reps in basketball. When you said that, I was thinking about you're not always playing basketball in a nice shed with no wind. You know, there's all sorts of different circumstances. So flexing what might be at the edge of your knowing, super windy conditions up on Mount Everest trying to sink a basket, like that's the kind of unprecedented that we might have been talking about before. So you mightn't have had that exact experience before, but if you can practice in and around all sorts of interesting scenarios, then maybe you've got enough in your toolkit. So really take that on board. So thank you. Got 3 principles to take with me this afternoon. Can you join me again in thanking Melissa for an amazing presentation? We're at the pointy end, and it is at this pointy end that I get to hand over and be part of the audience, clapping like crazy, knowing that all 3 teams are already winners. Awesome. Let's find out what the judges have to say. So would you join me, please, in welcoming, I think it's Lindley Brown, who's going to be delivering the news. Thanks, Lindley.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to announce the winner today. Congratulations to all 3 of the finalists today. Your hard work, your commitment to addressing the wicked problem with unique and innovative solutions is inspiring and commendable. And yesterday we heard your pitches, we gave you some feedback, you all took your feedback on board. Yesterday we were inspired, today we were wowed. So thank you very much. There can only be one winner, and that was really tough. 20 minutes was mean, but we did get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce the winner. I'm going to ask them to come and stand next to me. I'm going to say a few words, and then I'm going to invite them to have a few words as well. So, on that note, I would like to announce the winner as the team, Building Trust and Resilience, Improving Community Disaster Response Through Effective Messaging Dissemination. Craig, Alison and Madison, come up here, please.
Thank you.
Okay, great work, guys.
Thank you.
While chatbots aren't new, their concept to develop the disaster dashboard fence to deal with risks like AI hallucinations was innovative, credible and well thought through. The use of the considered ideas like connection to support services, accessibility, data protection and securities was well researched and really inspired us. Credible, targeted, achievable. The problem was clear and the solution clearly identified. Once you have piloted in Townsville, can you please give me a call? Because I would like to trial that in WA. Thank you very much.
Thank
Who has the...
Andrew?
Yes.
Of course.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you so
Great
much.
pitch.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Here you go.
Thank you. Oh, pass them down. Thank you. Thank you.
Photo, I think, as well.
Yeah, let me know
Here
if
we
you
go.
join the photo.
Come,
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You go? Me?
Yeah, you go, Craig.
Well, thank you so much for this honour. It's really amazing, and couldn't have done it without these two. They were a great team. But thank you so much for NHRA for putting this challenge on. It's been such a wonderful event, and past couple of months collaborating with so many people in the sector that helped us shape our idea, and we can't thank all the people we collaborated with enough for providing feedback on our idea that helped us shape it to what it is now. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And just quickly, maybe thank you to the other teams as well. It was
Yeah.
great to meet you all and have this experience together, so thank you.
Okay, thank you so much and congratulations. To our two worthy runner-ups. You are equal runner-ups and we congratulate you for your effort in this project. I'll invite the Home Insurance Risk Reduction Options Group, Natalie, Lillian and Alexandra up first.
Congratulations.
We commend you on tackling a wicked problem in itself. Insurance, a wicked problem on top of a wicked problem. You presented a credible and achievable solution that the judges noted the complexities around policy shifts and partnerships required at a national level to get this off the ground. We really loved the research that you put in behind this project. Margaret has some contacts that she wants to connect you with to explore this further because we really see it as a credible solution to a very big problem. Can I just say that your presentation in itself was engaging, compelling, well presented and very slick. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to say a few words? Yes or no? You don't have to.
Just thank you to everyone, of course.
Thanks so much for supporting us. It's been a great experience being part of the whole competition and very
And meeting the other teams has been fantastic. I think we've definitely got some great contacts. So thanks. Congrats.
And Project OutHeat, please come take a stand up here. Hannah, Kiri, Annika. Hannah, Kiri and Annika, thank you for your enthusiasm and your creativity. We thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, and we know that we'll be singing the tune, for days on end. I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room. We loved, in particular, how you targeted your solution to vulnerable community members. For that, you should be commended. And the two-prong approach, using the principles of community-led and community-driven approaches for the first part, backed by the support of a physical outreach, was really well considered, and we enjoyed hearing very much about it. Thank you so much. Well done.
Good job. Well done. Thank you. Yeah, you were saying yours is up. Yeah.
All right. I'd just like to thank everyone, especially the Disaster Challenge mentors as well, Joe and George and Brendan, for helping us throughout this process. Very interesting, and especially for all three of us coming from not a disaster managed background, it was very useful to be able to chat to everyone and understand a little bit more about the sector. And of course, everyone else, our competitors, you guys, I think are a little bit more than that now after all the conversations we've had. I echo what you said about, having more contacts in this space. It's been really great to get to know everyone over the past few days. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Another really quick note was a very special thanks to our artist who has helped us out through this entire process, who did the Hydrate ads and the Naga Neighbours campaign. She's been really great with us and really put up with us for this entire time. I just want to give a special thanks to her.
Wow, rock it out, team. That concludes the formal proceedings of the Disaster Challenge final. I know online you don't know this, but we have been having wafts of bacon coming through the room, and I don't know whether, in my field of behaviour change, we use these sensors to help us relax. I was so relaxed smelling bacon, and also it did prompt me to think, there's lunch after this where we can go and chat and be with our colleagues who maybe used to be competitors and are now what I would call co-opetition colleagues, where we collaborate and cooperate to find the best solutions. So on behalf of Natural Hazards Research Australia, I would like to thank the Disaster Challenge Working Group. Brendan McAtee, you are phenomenal, and your presence in WA it must be cherished, and we love working with you on the West Coast, from the East Coast, inside our team to be able to deliver what has been an extraordinary experience. With beautiful sunshine today, we have seen all the weather and understand the fragility and the beauty of this local place. Thank you to our expert judging panel, Lindley Brown, Mal Cronstead and Margaret Morton. You are absolute legends, and I think the feedback from a learning possibility is also awesome for the team. You might not have heard it just then. We do have a recording, so you can listen back to the genuine gratitude that the judges had about each of your presentations. Please keep in touch with us. We are not going anywhere. We have a range of programs that work towards increasing capability and capacity. I'm a big recent fan, because it's recently gotten off the ground, of the MCAP program, with a fabulous acronym that means nothing except when you know that it is early and middle career academics and practitioners. MCAP. That was my pitch, Andrew. How did I do? Good. The way you find it is you Google MCAP NHRA. It will not come up with the National Hot Rod Association if you do that. And you will find a 1 minute, less than 1 minute, put your details in. Please do not have imposter syndrome. Everyone is welcome into the MCAP program once you've finished your postdoctoral studies. If it's before that, then we also have awesome student programs for you to be involved with, so check us out. Our Natural Hazards Research Forum, not to be confused with conferences and all sorts of awesome other events. Our forum is back in 2025, and that is on the 18th to the 20th of June. So if your Google is open, hey Google, please put in my calendar the 18th to the 20th of June 2025. Yes, have it in there so that you know. What's the title of the event? I use AI all the time. Thank you, Google. Too fast. It's in Adelaide in 2025 in June, so make sure you keep that handy because it helps you to plan other events around it. For sure, go for it. We have monthly webinars, and there's one coming up next Wednesday on the 9th of October in partnership with ADA, with the Australian Institute for Disaster Resilience, ADA, to acknowledge the United Nations International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. Did you know that day was there? Every day has special meaning. That one is special to hear about what's been going on and what we can do going forward. So check that out if you have time. They're always free, just need to register. So encouraging everyone now to enjoy the beautiful refreshments outside. I do not know whether it's bacon or not. It certainly smelled good. And if you're online and you can see other participants or you know others who have been participating online today, please check out our LinkedIn page. We will be logging the presentations and perhaps you can provide some commentary in there to congratulate our team, and they'll certainly see it if you do that and tag them. So go and be creative. Think about wicked challenges as something potentially positive that you can engage with during your career and your after hours as you engage with family and friends over thinking about basketball and reps and doing it well. And perhaps you may also engage with your own personal evacuation plan strategy so that you can turn up to work and do a great job knowing that your house and family are safe. With that, go well and be safe.